Hey folks, today we're going to talk about the 5 things you need before you sign a commercial lease. And isn't this perfect? So we're in a commercial space, we're in the studio, set aside this time to do this film, and they're working on the roof, dropping shingles. You might hear loud boom, boom, boom on the roof. But you know what? We're going to film anyway, because one of the ideas behind this channel is just to be candid, be open, and just do it the way, just do it. So it's not like we got all the time in the world, because we have to work around the schedule. Obviously, there'll be a bunch of people in here later today, and this needs to get done. So if they're working on the roof, they're working on the roof. All right, 5 things that you need to have or to know or get straight in your head before you sign the lease. Now, what do I mean by a commercial lease? Well, brick and mortar, right? You're not in a gym. It's not a club. You're looking to go commercial. You're looking to be, I don't want to say legitimate, but legitimate business. You know what I mean? You're right beside the Publix or Kroger's or whatever shopping center, or a strip mall, some kind of strip mall, beside the health club. Number 1, have somebody look at that lease really good. Negotiate it well. Your life will change drastically if that lease isn't right. And when you sign that lease, it's like signing a mortgage. Those landlords will pursue you. So you need to take it serious. And there are considerations that need to be made. That lease needs to be looked at by, in my opinion, a lawyer. If you're going to be in the business, and once you sign it, you're in the business, you need to have a lawyer anyway. We live in a world today that you just need a lawyer, period. So no matter the business, if you're signing a commercial lease, have somebody look at it that's that's looked at a lot of them, negotiated a lot of them, they know it inside and out, or a lawyer. Number 2, you need to understand, get your mind right, get your mind in the game, that you are in the business. You are not a club. You need to be professional. And if you're in the business, you need to embrace, get ready for this, sales and marketing. Business is transactions. The purpose of a business is to make money. The purpose of any business is to stay in business so they can serve their customers. So the entrepreneurial side of the brain and the artist side of the brain typically don't mesh. And when you find somebody where they do mesh, that's a unicorn. That's why you have the saying, a starving artist. And it's real important for you to be successful for your students. You cannot service them unless you are successful. You can't service them well, I should say. And how do you grow? How do you inspire other people to follow in your footsteps if you're starving, right? So understand that you are in the business, and if you're in the business, you have to embrace, you might not like it, but somebody in your business needs to be doing marketing and sales. And if you say, oh, I'll just teach and I'll just hire somebody else to do that part, that rarely works. You need to be able to do it all or understand it all, at least. Number 3, third thing. You need to understand that it is a second shift job. You might be young right now. Eventually, you'll get married, have kids, and this needs to be a lifestyle that your family can accommodate. I guess that's the best word. And you need to be successful so that you can grow a staff and pay them well, so that you can be home in the evenings as your kids get older and as you see them grow up. That's super important. I've seen a lot of people make mistakes over the years not anticipating that. You can kiss your child goodbye in the morning and you don't see them again until late at night when they're already asleep, if they're going to school, unless you're homeschooling. And then homeschooling is a whole other family dynamic you have to take into account. A lot of people do that, that's in the martial art business. I know we did that. So understand it as a second shift job, and your family needs to be okay with it. If you're single, it might be okay now, but think long term. And if you're in the business, you need to be thinking long term. Well, I'll just do this for the period of my lease, and then we'll decide after that. That's not ethically right for your students. Okay? All right, so number one, have somebody looking at that lease. Number two, you are in the business, so you need to embrace marketing and sales. Number three, it's a second shift job. Number four, I have often said that the business is like a tiger. You can lead it with a leash, or you can hang on to it by the tail. Now, when you're holding on to it by the tail, it's a roller coaster ride. It's crazy. Holding it by the leash, or leading it by the leash, I should say, is better. Sometimes in the same year, you can be on both ends. COVID, you don't know what's going to happen, right? So it's real important to understand the business parts. So understanding that that business is a tiger and you need to control it. So for instance, scheduling is a big issue in martial arts schools. You make the schedule fit you to a point, to a point. Understand what I'm trying to say. You don't want to have classes 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning because you're a morning person and you're just going to attract morning people and that's all you're going to do. No, I mean, let's use some common sense. But do not make a schedule for a couple families that might be coming to those classes. Don't let your students run your school, because if your students run your school, they're going to run you out of business every time. So make sure that that tiger, you're controlling it. You're in charge. You have to have some knowledge to be in charge. So you have to have that business mind, okay? Number five, and number five is probably, I would say, the most important. You need something to sustain you through the difficult times. And if you're in a business, there's going to be difficult times. You need to understand why you're doing it. And it can't be something like, well, I just love the martial arts and I just want to help people and I want to transcend my knowledge into other people and make their lives better. It's got to be deep. It's got to be something really strong enough to sustain you through the hard times. No matter what business. If it's a pizza parlor you want to open, you need to make sure that why you're doing it is super important to you. And hey, it's not just making money. It's not just a lifestyle. Like you fall in love with your art, it's the best self-defense art in the world. I want to teach it to everybody. It's got to be something deeper than that. So you need to spend some time thinking, why do you really want to do it? Because you're going to be leading a tiger. You're going to have to learn things that you're not comfortable with, maybe, like sales and marketing. Like you're going to stretch your neck out by signing your name on a lease for 3-5 years, $100,000, $200,000 worth. All right, it's kind of like a mortgage. You're going to be stretching your neck out with knowledge, risk, embracing, maybe marketing and sales, either you or somebody else. So your why needs to be super, super important. Okay? So before you sign a lease, let's think about these things. And I would say this too, and we could add 10 more things. We could add 10 more things, but these are just 5 that I just picked off the top of my head. Make sure that you understand that when you're in the business, you have to know that it's a daily thing. And you can, this is part of leading the tiger by the leash. It's a Monday through Friday, Tuesday through Saturday, Monday through Thursday, and then Saturday, whatever days you have. And then there's your off days, which, starting out, and you might be the one-person show. I mean, you got to put that time in for accounting, paying the bills, doing other marketing events, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So it's a grind, and it's not seasonal. You need to be doing it all the time. There are seasons that are better than others, but it's real important to understand that. The other thing I want to make real clear is it's best that you have some experience teaching and knowing in your head, having confidence that you can keep your students. I'm a great teacher, but you only have 3 or 4 students and you've been teaching for 3 months. You're not a good teacher. right? So make sure that you are in a club, or you start off somewhere in a church maybe, where you can rent a room at a gym, where when you sign that commercial lease, you're coming over with 50 students, something like that, where you've already proven to yourself that you can do it, and your students come in, you have automatic cash flow, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? That's just a side note there. Like I say, we could have 100 points to this, but we'd have a 50-minute video, and who'd want to watch that? So here we go. Number 5 things. Number 1, make sure somebody that knows what the heck they're talking about or looking at is looking at that lease and negotiating it for you or with you. Number 2, make sure that you understand that when your name goes on it, you are in the business, and if you're in the business, then you need to embrace marketing and sales. Okay? Number 3, make sure that you understand it is a second shift job. Your lifestyle needs to accommodate that. Number 4, what was number 4? Let's make sure that you know that that business is a tiger, and you want to lead it by the leash instead of hanging on to it with the tail. And you need some support for that. And then number 5 is you got to understand, why in the world are you doing this? Most small businesses go out in the first 5 years. In a membership-based business, they go out a lot faster than that. So you need to have your ducks in a row. As I talk about this, you might think that, oh man, he's just anti anybody starting it. No. Now, if you have a passion for your business and you have a business mind, do it. Yes, do it. But these are things that we have to consider. The martial arts, teaching martial arts, is such a great benefit to everyone that takes it and teaches it. Every night I lay my head on my pillow at night, I know that I've made a difference in people's lives. Positive impact. There have been 9 women that have been attacked that have been my students that have been able to defend themselves. I've had 2 attempted child abductions. That's just the physical side. They've been able to get away. That's just the physical side. Now you're talking about the mental side. Countless kids and adults that have gained that self-confidence and discipline to, enhance their life and character. And, I have a big speech that's entitled, "There's no excuse for a black belt to live a mediocre life." Absolute fact, right? So it's a great career, but these are things you need to consider before we start down that career. So hopefully this helps out, gives you some consideration. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you guys again.